Am I sharing my screen? Okay, am I good? Are we on? I'm sharing my full screen, so I can't see myself. Am I on correctly? Hold on. Go back to this. I didn't share it right. Oh my gosh. Okay, tech. Oh, here we go. It's sharing, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Hold on. Sorry. Tech. Okay, I think we're on. Okay, we're on. Sharon, Judy, Nikki, thank you. Great. Okay, Scott, thank you so much. Let me just move this out of the way. I just want to see the chat up here, but not myself. How do I do that?
Oh, it's on a delay.
Okay, let me just move this. Sorry, y'all. Hold on 1 second. Tech. Check. I don't want to see myself. I just want to see the chat. Okay, there we go. Okay, friends. Scott, thank you so much for that incredible introduction. I already popped on earlier, so hi, back again. I just had to get in there and just give my girl Jen some love because talk about energy. So today, friends, as Scott said, we are talking all about how you can unlock your energy instinct. That version of you when you are at your best, fully charged, ready to rock. That version of you that's not mimicking someone else's energy style or matching someone else's energy level, but that version of you when you're unstoppable. That version of you when you feel your most ambitious, you're most aligned, and most importantly, you're most alive. So, friends, when you think about the energy that you're bringing to your direct selling business right now, the question I have for you is if you were to average out, let's say the last 90 days, the highs, the lows, good night's sleep, bad night's sleep, caffeine, no caffeine, if you were to average all that out and you were to think for yourself for a second and say, where is my personal energetic battery? Let's say on a scale from 1 to 7, okay? 1 to 7. Where would you honestly rate your battery? Pay attention to the first number that comes up. Don't judge it. Don't negotiate with it. And if you're comfortable being open, honest, and real, drop it in the chat. Lori, Karen, Regina, go ahead and drop that. Angel's at a 7. Angel, you're always at a 7. Of course you are. Brittany's at a 4. What can you text them and ask? Are you guys seeing my slides full screen or just seeing the slide deck? 6 for Shannon. Pam is 1. Judy's 4. Okay. 3, 4, 5, 6. Just text the guys and see if they can see the full screen or not. Did it go to the next slide? Are you guys seeing where's your battery as the slide, or are you seeing the full deck? Are you seeing the full slide that says where's your battery? My face is always larger. I have a huge...
Hey, just jumping in here. Hi.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're seeing just your screen, so we're not seeing your full show.
Okay.
And he'll put me back down so you can see it. Here.
Okay, so I'm gonna reshare.
Yeah, just reshare. Perfect.
Sorry, y'all. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, I want to make sure you can see all the examples. Okay, stop screen share. Okay, I'm hitting. Sorry, you guys. Just quick.
No worries.
Present. Share screen. Gosh, I'm not techie. Okay, window. Entire screen. Back to window. Bam, spring cleaning. I'm hitting share. Then I'm hitting play. Are we back in business now, Scott?
We're looking right now.
Where's your battery? 1 to 7?
Yeah, but I see your screen with your notes, so just make it a full show. Make it a full screen show.
Full screen show. How do I do that? Okay.
Yeah, present.
Sorry, y'all. Okay. Share. Present.
Yep, full screen.
Full screen. Share screen. Yep. Okay.
Yep, it should be good.
Share screen.
Hey, it's a day of authenticity here.
I know. Sorry, y'all. Thanks for your patience. Do this one or entire screen. Okay. And then share. And let's see if this works. Thank goodness we have the tech experts here. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Are we in business now, Scott? Are we?
You are.
Okay. Thank you, friends. So we had some people weighing in anywhere from, thank you, Shannon. Shannon's like, hit the green button on the top left to present. Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Judy, Michelle, Desiree, Lisa. We are back in business. Okay. So where is your battery? We had everywhere from 1 to 7. And here's the thing, friends. When you think about the energy that you are showing up with to the world, online, offline, and all the time, we've all had seasons where we've been in that 1 to 4 era, that kind of lower end of the battery. I mean, I know for sure I have. Now, we all know not to trust the highlight reel, but let me tell you, about 5 years ago, I really, really saw what's possible and what's real about what we show online versus who we are in real life. About 5 years ago, I was online sharing about how I had finally sold my social media agency that I had built for over 12 years. I had challenged myself to run my fastest half marathon time, which I did. I almost died like 9 times, but I made it. And then finally, I was so excited to share on social media that I had this huge book deal going on from New York. I was finally in my local Barnes and Noble all over the world. So to the internet, it looked like life was great. What you couldn't see was behind the screen what was actually going on. In my personal life, my husband and I had gone all in on a terrible investment. We had lost almost all of our savings overnight when the pandemic hit. And so my husband, who's here with me right now doing wonderful AV support, who's a very happy, upbeat, loving person, for the first time in his life, he was battling a little bit of depression. For me, being a partner, trying to help him, also losing all of my speaking gigs. The pandemic was not a very popular time for live events where I make most of my business. On top of that, we found out that my dad, who I'm very close to, just like Jen's close with her dad, was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And just to top off the worst 90 days in history in 2020, we lost the love of our life, our little puppy, Stevie Nicks, who was taken from us in a awful accident that happened right in front of me involving a car. And when life comes for you that hard, when it's drainer after drainer after drainer, and you are in a drainy season, and maybe you're in one of those right now, maybe you're coming out of one, maybe, you can see one brewing on the horizon, but no matter how you think about it, those things come at us and they take our energy down, no matter how energized we are. And so for me, I was trying to do all the things to just keep swimming, right? Treading water. I was, working out and saying my prayers and listening to motivational podcasts and following amazing influencers like the Jen Gottliebs of the world to get my energy up and stay in there. And if that's a space that you're in, you know that just like our parents told us, my dad anyway was a boomer. He used to say, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So I did. And I kept going and going and saying yes to everything and overcommitting and going and going. If you are in that season, you know that sooner or later, you can only sprint for so long until it comes to a head. So for me, that moment happened where I was on a team call. I had just done 5 keynotes on 5 different topics in 7 different cities. And I had come home just in tatters. I'm on this team call with all the little Brady Bunch boxes. And actually, Scott and Angel, who are running this event, were on the call with me. And we were just going through normal team stuff, talking about opportunities. But it had been my 9th Zoom of the day. And all of a sudden, as they're talking, you guys, I couldn't catch my breath. I couldn't swallow. I couldn't see. My team was on there asking me very normal questions. And all of a sudden, I felt like I was having a heart attack. I couldn't breathe. Everything went dark. And I woke up in the ER thinking that Hartman was going to say that I had had a heart attack. It turns out it was just a panic attack, which feels very similar. So if you've ever experienced anxiety for overextending yourself, trying to be everything to everyone, not defending your boundaries, trying to be a perfectionist, trying to make everyone happy, trying to be the perfect mom, the perfect friend, the perfect entrepreneur all at once, and Stephanie knows, and whoever else is in the chat here can identify that it's very tough to power through forever. So what do we do when we hit burnout? What do we do when we hit anxiety or depression or, God forbid, a panic attack? Well, it's a real wake-up call that it is time to reset the energy. It is time to power down. So the doctor said to me, you need to de-stress. Now, luckily, I had a keynote in Bali for a women's event, which was so cool and exotic. And I felt very glamorous flying across the world to go to this amazing women's event and be their keynote speaker. So when I was there, you guys better believe I tacked on the extra week to eat, pray, love my way through Bali. I was hanging out with the great-great-grandson of a sacred shaman down by this beautiful Amazon river. It turns out if all you do is drink green juice, eat vegetables, and get a rub down, oh my God, crazy. Your energy's fine. You're not burnt out at all. Anxiety, what? No, you're one with the universe and the jungle, baby, right? So the problem is when I came home, I was one Zoom call in where I felt the breathing start again. I felt the anxiety begin. I felt that burnout, that energetic low begin to block me from sharing my biggest, best, juiciest, most influential energy. And isn't this what happens with us, right? We power through until we can't afford to physically because our bodies literally can't. And then we power down until we can't afford to fiscally because we can't stay in Bali, sadly, forever, or have the weekend, or have the girls' night, or whatever it is that you do to power down. And so the question that I had a couple years ago is yo-yo energy management our only option? I couldn't help but wonder, like, is this the only way to go through life as a high performing, peak performance, transformative leader? Powering through, powering down, repeat. So this is the question that I set out to answer. So I spent 18 months conducting the world's largest study that's ever been done on personal human energy management. I hired PhDs from the smartest research firms, companies that have done research for brands like Deloitte, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Google. These are smart cookies. And we interviewed 10,000 people over the course of 18 months to understand how they manage their most precious resource, the most precious currency with which they transact with the world, their energy. And what we found was fascinating, you guys. How they source and spend and save their energy. And what I learned completely changed my life. It changed how I show up, how I'm able to be in my world, online, offline, and all the time. Not only physically are my Whoop scores back in the green, but fiscally for the last 2 years, we've been super blessed to have our most productive, positive, profitable years, but it's low stress success. And so I am here today to share with you what I learned on this journey in hopes that it can help you to do the same as you digitally clean up your footprint, elevate your brand, and take your business to the next level. So this is our game plan for the next 30 minutes. If you're here for it, let me get a yes, yes, yes in the chat. Yes, Scott, low stress success, buddy. That is the name of the game. So everyone is here for it. So let's get ready to dive in. Okay. So when we were doing this study, what was fascinating, you guys, was that there was one small group of people in the study. Yes, Lisa, Nikki, Shanae, Sue, love it. I see you, Jenny, here for it. Okay, Sharon. So what we found was in the study, there was a small group of individuals that rose up out of the study. And these people had two things going on. Number one, they reported having consistently high energy levels. They were consistently at a 5 to 7 through life's ups and downs, good night sleep, bad night sleep. They had a high performing energy. But the second thing they had, probably even more importantly, was they had what we like to call a high life satisfaction score. They felt present, joyful, excited for the future. They self-identified as being successful. So we called these people the big energy beings. Now, in 10,000 people, conversations over a year and a half, we learned a lot about how are these people doing it? How are they high performing, but also high enjoying? And we reverse engineered all the conversations, the anecdotes, the habits into a very simple 3-step formula that I have taught to companies around the world. I'm going to share with you. And it's this simple. What big energy beings do that the rest of us don't is they find their fuel. And so today we're going to find yours. So the first step to elevating your energy in your business online, bringing that best version of you that never lies, that's so contagious, that your team finds irresistible. The first step is we have to find the energy leaks in your life right now. Now, think of an energy leak like a computer program that's running in the background, just slowly draining your battery. Now, if you think about this, there are drainers in our life that are kind of in two categories. Now, one category, we have what I like to call your fixed drainers. Fixed drainers are, the trauma, the accident, the health scare, the loss. These are the non-controllable energy drainers that come into our life and rob us of our most persuasive, powerful, dynamic energy, even on our best days. We can eat kale till the cows come home, sleep 9 hours, and drink a gallon of water, and our energy will still be drained because sometimes life just comes for you, and that's just the way it goes. And when that happens and life's having its way with you, it's going to take time. It's going to take maybe therapy, maybe prayer. Like there are certain things you can't just power through or power down or power up, right? They're just going to happen. So we're not talking about finding those fixed drainers because those are battles that you're fighting on a bigger scale. What we're talking about is finding your discretionary drainers. These are the energy leaks that we like to think are fixed. We like to think that we can't do anything about them, but these are habits. These are choices. These are decisions that we're making online and offline that are taking away your most precious resource, your energy. These are things like perfectionism, overcommitting, toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, false narratives. These are the elements where we need to draw some boundaries. Now, the big energy beings in our study, you guys, they use the word boundaries 7 times more than people in our study who had lower life satisfaction scores and lower energy. These people were just better at identifying the people and the places, the projects, the pivots that they needed to do one of 3 things about. Number 1, they're either going to delete it, get rid of it, hasta luego, happy trails, see you never. Number 2, they would delegate. They would ask themselves, does this have to be my problem, or is there someone else who can tackle this issue? And finally, most importantly, the big energy beings in our study that had the most amazing energy and the most amazing success, they did anything, literally anything, but ignore it. They dealt with it. Now, when you're thinking about how this translates to a spring cleaning online with your universe, your news feed, there are 3 ways. Let's just start with deleting. 3 places we can find some seriously toxic drainers that are taking out your energy and making it really hard for you to show up authentically on a live, like Jen said, bringing your best vibe. So my very favorite way to delete a drainer is what I like to call a little blessing block. Okay. And the blessing block is something that I use. I do it every single Friday. I literally have an alarm on my phone that goes off and it says blessing block. I actually have it with my coffee. So I have my coffee in the morning. Every Friday, I blessing block. What this means, I pay attention to, as I'm scrolling, the physical response that I have to someone who, for whatever reason, is making me feel less than, making me feel like I'm not enough, like I'm behind, like I'm somehow not being the person who's where she should be, okay, which is bullshit, as we know. Now, the blessing block is something that's very tricky to do because oftentimes we judge ourselves. So in my network, just actually, today's Friday, so I actually did this morning. There are 2, I like to call it a tale of 2 blondes, right? There's 2 blondes in the speaking circuit, and we're all at the same place in our career. We all do big, beautiful stages. We serve our audiences. We have different topics, but kind of the same vibe. One of the gals who I see in my newsfeed, when she's on stage and she's killing it, I'm like, yes, girl, get it. If it's possible for her, it's possible for me. She inspires me, right? It's a little healthy competition. But then for whatever reason, the other gal that I see, when I see her winning, I feel like, oh, why not me? I feel my shoulders come down. I feel this little twinge of not enoughness, and my energy just tanks. That's unhealthy comparison. I don't have to understand it. I don't have to judge it, but I do have to manage it. And so do you. The blessing block is a massive, fantastic exercise that you can do once a week. Just pay attention. Who are you seeing in that news feed that is robbing you of your precious energy? We bless, we send them love. Good job, you. We wish you well. Mwah, mwah, on your way. And then we unfollow, we unsubscribe, we move on. The blessing block. So I'd encourage you, if something's coming to mind for you, if one person is coming to mind for you as I'm talking for you, then let them go and set them free. Okay, the second thing we can do is an inbox detox. I do this once a month. I go through and basically any email that you find yourself constantly not opening, just open it and hit that little unsubscribe button. Get it out of there. Marie Kondo, that email closet of yours, it's not spark and joy. Again, hasta luego, amigo. And finally, axe the apps. Now, oftentimes we'll download apps because our friends are like, oh my gosh, it's a life-changing, it's game-changing. For me, this was this yoga app that all my friends are going crazy about. Oh my gosh, you can do yoga from any hotel room, anywhere in the world. I'm like, that sounds great. Guys, I was paying $15 a month for this app. I used it a half of one time. We don't have to have this FOMO where we keep these apps on our phone. Scroll through that home screen, delete the apps that are not sparking energetic joy. Marie Kondo, that home screen. For me, I have all of my apps organized into folders where I have an affirmation, right? I am healthy is my Orange Theory Fitness app. It's my calorie tracker. It's my Whoop, right? I am connected. All my social media apps go into that folder, right? I am wealthy. That folder has all of my banking apps. I'm adventurous. All my travel apps, my airline apps. So start to organize that space a little bit, right? So we can begin to step in to finding those energy leaks, those drainers, and getting rid of them. Can I get an amen in the chat? Okay, we have Brittany, Stephanie, Ideneth, Angel. Yes, yes, yes. All right, Stephanie. Now, step 2, the big energy beings, after they talked a lot about finding and dealing with drainers, the second thing that they do is your. Now, your is very interesting. I want you guys to really lean into this part. What they did, we interviewed them, was they actually did not use a lot of power through language. Language like hang in there, push forward, keep hustling, right? They didn't use that language as much as the other people in our study. They also did not use a lot of power down language, right? I just need to unplug and recharge and decompress. Now, here's the thing. Do we need to power through and hustle sometimes? Of course. Do we need to power down sometimes? Yes, we sure do. But what the big energy beings in our study did was their language was a lot more about powering up. They used phrases like listen to my body, know what I need, put my oxygen mask on first. Trust my instincts, play to my strengths, power up my way. This is the language that they use. Now, y'all, before you think I'm going to sit here and tell you about more self-care that you need to do, that is not where this conversation is going. So stay tuned. And let me ask you this. In the chat, I'm just going to run through a couple of things that the internet, particularly Instagram, tells us that we need to do to have and feel and share and transmit our very best energy. Okay. Now I'm going to use keywords. Drop the keyword. I'm going to go fast. So saddle up. Drop the keyword in the chat if this is something that you invest your precious time and energy into to get more energy. And we're just going to go quick. So everyone look alive, get your fingers ready. Okay. Drop in the chat if you try to eat clean to manage your energy. Okay. Drop in the chat if you try to get 9 hours of sleep, 8 hours of sleep, any sleep. Drop in the chat if you try to drink a gallon of the Cheer You On Amazon water bottles. Okay. Drop in the chat if you like to move your body every single day. Who's a journaler? Let's get a little journal in the chat. Okay. Who's doing the breath work? Let's get the breath work people in the chat. Breath work. Okay. Jiu-jitsu, exercise, water. Where are my sauna people? Where are my cold plungers? Drop a little cold plunge. Where's my red light therapy people? Drop that in. Okay. How about a little intermittent fasting? Where are my fasters? My supplement people. I'm sure we have a couple of those on this call. Where are my dry brushers? How about some cupping? We have any cupping people? Okay. How about some acupuncture? I'm still going, guys. Let me hear what you do. Drop it in the chat. Acupuncture. Who's tried forest bathing? Huh? Maybe a little sound baths? How about some goat yoga? Where are my goat yoga people in the chat? Who's done a little goat yoga? I think there's bee pollen injections, bee venom injections. They literally will sting you multiple times to give your energy a boost. Okay, we have sound bath people. Who's tried one of the other wellness hacks, which is actually getting blood transfusions from younger people? This is true, you guys. I am not making this up. And finally, who has tried the latest way to get more energy, which is allowing sun to hit you where the sun ain't supposed to shine? Okay. Now, everyone in the chat is showing all the ways that we are told we need to get energy. But here is the thing, you guys, when you think about eating clean and sleeping and doing supplements and forest bathing and sound baths and goat yoga and cupping and acupuncture and saunaing and steaming and sound bathing and cold plunging and red light therapy, who here feels super energized thinking about all of those ways to get energy? We're not. Here's the reality, guys. The good news is what we found is that when it comes to optimizing your energy to show up as your most ambitious, influential, aligned, and alive self, more is not more. I'm going to say it again. More is not more. See, our study found that anyone that does any more than 32 energizing activities per week, that's only 4 to 5 a day. When people in our study went beyond just 4 to 5, cup of coffee, little sweat, call your mom, do some breath work, maybe say a prayer, 4 to 5 a day is easy. When they went beyond 4 to 5, two things happened. Number one, their energy levels actually went down. And number two, their life satisfaction scores went down as well. So contrary to popular belief on the internet, my friends, the science shows that it is not about doing more and more yes. It's about knowing your yes. The big energy beings in our study, they aligned their efforts with their energy instincts. Alignment, my friends, that is the new hustle. Okay. And think about it. Effort is expensive. Even going through all those different items and things we could be doing, didn't you start to feel your energy go down a little bit? Because energy is expensive. Energy and effort have an inverse relationship. Effort is expensive, but when you are in your instincts, when you are in your flow, you're in your zone, instincts are free. These are the moments where you have a night with your girls and you have so much fun and you're talking and you're laughing and you're connecting. And maybe you don't get perfect sleep. Maybe you had the cheese and crackers. Maybe you had the sneaky wine. But the next day, even though physically you shouldn't feel amazing, your energy's off the charts because you were in your instinct of connection, right? Or moments where you find yourself in the zone, in flow, working on something that you're really passionate about. And all of a sudden, 2, 3 hours went by like a black hole. Like, what just happened? Instincts are free. And the big energy beings in our study, they know how their instincts work best. Just like Jen was saying in her talk, when she was doing all this effort to be this personal trainer, and then she finally figured out her alignment was to step into this bigger, bolder version of her. A great example is the one and only Miss Oprah Winfrey. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. Okay. And my mom one time ran into Oprah when she was just 22 years old. She was a burgeoning, brand new reporter in Baltimore, Maryland, only 22 years old, anchoring the nightly news. And they had just given her a shot. My mom saw her at the grocery store. She said she had amazing energy. It was like seeing, Jesus Christ himself is how she really felt back then. She's like, oh my God, she's amazing. You wouldn't believe it. She still talks about it. I'm like, Mom, she literally is not going to remember you. You passed by her in the noodle aisle. You are not besties. And the story keeps growing every year, obviously. When Oprah was on the nightly news, if you watch footage of her from back in 1978 to 1979, where she was anchoring the evening news, you can see that she's not aligned with her instincts. She put in so much effort. She was prepared, but she was too expressive. The producers of the news actually were encouraging her to be less emotional, be less expressive, be more monotone. They wanted her to be less, be smaller, and dim her light. Her ratings were not great. Her feedback was not great, no matter how prepared she was, no matter how much effort she put in. And so she made a choice. She asked to be moved from the coveted anchoring the nightly news spot to the much lower rated daytime talk show on the same station. Now, everyone thought she was crazy. It was less influence, it was less pay. But what happened when Oprah stepped into that lower role? She aligned with her energy instinct. She came alive. People leaned in. They said, tell me more. She was talking about things like trauma and addiction and healing, topics that were not really talked about in the 1980s. Oprah's instinct was not to be someone who was all about reporting and reading off a teleprompter. Her instinct was to be someone who was all about relating, connecting on that deeper level. And look what happened. Her experience completely changed. She helps gals in South Africa. She builds schools. She does book clubs. She's the world's first female billionaire of color. I mean, she's changed the world because she found her instinct, because that's where she was in flow. That's where she was meant to be. And so when you think about what you're doing, when you lead with effort, friends, you burn out. But when you lead with instinct, that's where you break through. So what is your instinct? What is your energy instinct? Let's find out. If you know how your energy works, or you think you do, pay attention to this. And I want you to guess how you think your energy works online, offline, all the time with your business. Okay. Where do we get energy, friends? We get energy from a couple different sources and spaces. Now, you probably know the spaces where you get energy: physical, creative, spiritual, emotional, mental. These are the usual spaces we talk about when we talk about energy management. But are you aware of the real sources of your energy? The 3 sources of energy we discovered in our study was, number 1, a deep sense of connection to others, something bigger than yourself. That was where people really found their energy or didn't. Second thing was competence, feeling like you're able to do challenging but doable tasks with immediate feedback. And finally, control, Now, we know control is an illusion, obviously, but a sense of agency or autonomy over your destiny, a feeling of being the captain of your own ship. Now, if you think about your direct selling business, your network marketing business, or your entrepreneurial venture, the reason that you love it so much, the reason that it energizes you more often than not is because think about it. It's tapping into all three of these spaces. You're connecting to others and something bigger than yourself. You're able to measure your competence as you grow your revenue, as you grow your rank, as you grow your team. And then finally, control. You're able to set your own hours and work when you want to work. So in our study, we found that all of us have an intersection of a source and a space that is a scientific shortcut to how your instinct works best. Okay. So if you look at the 5 types, we have kinetic energy, we have generative energy, we have synergistic, responsive, and rigorous. Now, you are one of these 5 energy types. This is a shortcut to how your energy type works best. So pay attention. I'm going to run through the 5 of them super high level. Guess which one you are. And I'm going to give you an incredible tool to find out if you're right and what that means for your business so you can step more into your instinct online and offline. Okay. So Sharon, you don't need to work on it all. That's the whole point. So Sharon just said in the chat, I need to work on all of it. This is the whole point. No, you don't need to work on all of it. When you try to be all things to all people, that is when you burn out. That is when you are trying to put in all this effort. More effort does not equal more energy. It's about more aligned effort. It's about better energy management. And this tool is going to help you not work on it all, but instead double down on where you feel the most energized so that you can energize your business. So the first type is kinetic. The fastest path for a kinetic is a sense of challenge. Okay. Synergistics, that's Oprah. The fastest way for them to feel energized is a sense of connection. Okay. Your generatives, that's your Branson. Jen used the example of Richard Branson earlier. They need to create. Responsives, that's your Adele, your John Mayers. They need space. They're the deep empaths. They need to feel and go away and process. And finally, rigorous. They need a sense of order. They're allergic to chaos. So you are one of these 5 energy types, okay? Now, what I want you to kind of do is sort of guess which one you are. Drop it in the chat. Stephanie, which one do you think you are? You think you're space, synergistic? So guess which one you are. We're going to see if you're right in a second. But the important thing to realize is that if you don't know how your energy works best, how you power up is as distinct as your DNA. How Scott powers up versus Jen versus me versus Brittany, all different. So if you don't even know how your energy really works, that's how you're going to get drained by trying to be all the things on the internet all the time. That is a fast track path to burnout and blocking your best vibe. So a really, really great way to use your time on social media and on digital a little bit better is you want to invite in more of your instinct inputs. Okay. I like to call this playing a little game of seek and save. Now, seek and save is, I know for myself, I'm a kinetic. So I love a challenge. Challenge makes me feel energized the fastest. So for me, when I'm on social media, I seek out posts, individuals, personalities who like to issue a good challenge, and I save them because I'm trying to train the algorithm to provide more of how my digital energy works best. So for example, that's why I love following Jen Gottlieb, because she's always issuing the challenge. Push the button, show up, go live, don't be perfect. And I'm like, yes, tell me more. It encourages me. I love a challenge. But for some other people, maybe they need to feel more connected or more creative. They want to organize. They want to process. So understanding your energy instinct allows you to figure out who you can seek out and save to train the algorithm to show you more of what your energy needs. So find is finding the drainers, right? Deleting them, getting rid of them, clearing out that clutter. Your is understanding how your energy works best. And I'll give you that tool in just about 5 minutes here at the end. And finally, the final step that the big energy beings do is they know it's all about fuel. Okay, fuel. Let's talk about fuel. And when you think about fuel, it's about understanding how your energy affects your prospects, your clients, your customers, and especially your team. If you are the leader of a team, a network marketing business, or a small, nimble team like we have over here at Big Energy Enterprises, what I need you to hear is that you know that energy is expensive, but you also know energy is contagious, right? Our energy never lies. Have you ever been on like an airplane, or someone walks into an elevator, or you're behind someone in line and you haven't exchanged one word, but you can feel that you want to get away, right? Like you're just like, your energy is introducing you more than any words you could ever say, right? So the reality is that when you think about how contagious energy is, we actually found that 7 out of 10 people, so 68% of people in our study, 7 out of 10 people, they moved from a low energy state to a higher energy state after after interacting with someone's energy that they admired. So moving from low to high energy after someone's energy who they admired. That means that if you are in a low energy environment with your team, low energy is where deals don't get done. No one says yes. No one's leaning in. Like the high value experiences do not happen in low energy environments. So if you are in a situation where your team is giving you passive aggressive emojis, pushback, the vibe is down. If you want to raise the energy around you, the fastest way you can do that, friends, is by raising the energy within you. Understanding that deleting those drainers, finding getting rid of them, understanding how your energy works and seeking it out, plugging into your chargers, that's going to create that fuel, that contagious fuel that people cannot help but lean forward, stop their scroll, and say, tell me more. Okay. So, if any of you have ever seen either one of these Star Spangled Banner renditions, there's a huge debate on the internet of who did the best Star Spangled Banner of all time at a Super Bowl. So, on one hand, we have Team Whitney. Whitney Houston, she came out and she belts this thing out. I don't know if we have time to play the video, so we'll just describe it. But she belts this thing out, right? Like a gospel choir. She hits the high notes. She's juicy. She's chill inducing. She's incredible. She's a powerhouse of vocals. If you haven't seen these two renditions, by the way, look them up on YouTube because they're incredible. Then you have Chris Stapleton. Now, Chris Stapleton, totally different vibe. He hit the low notes, sultry, soulful, chill. It was like being at a gospel choir church with Whitney or a back porch, kicking it, chilling with Chris Stapleton. Now, both of them moved millions of people to feel something. Their energy transferred, their energy lit a match of moments, of energetic contagion, of feelings, but they did it in their own way. So when you're showing up to ignite the fuel in your teams, to ignite how you can lift people up by showing up at your best, remember, you don't have to be like anyone else. Just show up as you. High notes like Whitney or low notes like Chris Stapleton, and you will ignite emotional contagion that will get people to say, tell me more. That will get them to say, I'm stopping my scroll. That will get them to say, lean in. There is no right way to show up. Just like Jen said in her talk, it's not about being perfect or being like anybody else. It's about leaning in and doubling down who you are when you are at your energetic best. So how do you spread that fuel if you're doing a digital cleanup? Because you can't just like run around the internet being like, I'm spreading my good energy everywhere all the time, the end. Like that's very hard to do. The internet is a very large place. So I will give you the best hack that I have found that allows me to spread my positive energy in the most strategic, most intentional way possible. So I know that I'm lighting matches with the right people that I need for partnerships, for events, for moments, for impact, for income. So here is my biggest tip, friends. You systemize your scrolling. Now, what does that mean? Systemizing your scrolling means inviting connection over consumption. Here is how I do it. I have an alarm that goes off on my phone, and I have 60 minutes. 60 minutes. I do it once per day. And I don't open the Instagram app because the Instagram app is trying to just feed me what it thinks I should see. The Instagram app, the algorithm, like Jen said, is a mystery, right? It's part art, part science. Is Mercury in retrograde? Like it's a wild west. So I'm not trying to like allow the algorithm to drive how I feel and share my most precious asset. Instead, I take the wheel. I take control, right? I have a spreadsheet that I open up once a day for 1 hour. And on that spreadsheet, I have 3 tabs. The first tab are all of the people in my life that are existing relationships that I love. These are my family, my friends, my existing team members, and I have their names in a spreadsheet. Each one of their names is linked to their social media profile. The second tab that I have are prospects, people that I am actively trying to move from no to yes, or maybe to yes. They are all in there, linked to their Instagram profiles. That's where I play as Instagram. The third tab that I have, and this is really important, the third tab that I have are relationships that I'm not dear friends with them. I'm not trying to sell them anything, but I like their vibe. I like their energy. I thought there could be some kind of a synergy in the future. I don't have an ask for them. I just like the way they show up. So as Jen said, that footprint and that brand are huge in terms of who you want to invite into your life. So I click through the names on that spreadsheet so that I am able to engage in a way that is a creative comment, an intentional comment, not just like fire emojis and hearts, but I am leaning into them with strategy, with intention, and going through people to share and spread my fuel in a way that is intentional and systemized. This is how you max your time that you have to do that important outreach, to do those digital fist bumps, those moments of love, those moments of sharing you when you're at your best, fully charged, ready to rock. This is how you can combat that black hole scroll of the internet, which is designed to do that to you, and not waste your time, or even more importantly, wasting your precious energy. So I really encourage you to systemize your scrolling, create your own spreadsheet of the relationships that you really want to pour your energy into, that you want to share your fuel with. But don't rely on the algorithm to drive how you're investing your precious time, okay? Okay, so finally, here's the energy exam QR code so you can see if you guessed right. If you scan this code, you will get a 5-minute PhD-backed assessment, which is not a Disney BuzzFeed princess quiz. This is PhD-backed. You can go in there, and in 5 minutes, it will ask you specific questions that will allow you to figure out so much about how your energy shows up online, offline, and all the time. You'll find out what your chargers look like, what makes you happy, what your values are, your success drivers. You'll understand your primary and your secondary energy. And from there, you'll also understand how compatible you are with what other kinds of energy. If you have a prospect who's not picking up what you're putting down, or a team member who's not fired up, the reality is it's no one's fault. It's just that your energies maybe aren't compatible. I like using this energetic compatibility insight because I can understand how to better manage my teams and to better approach my prospects. For example, I have a gal on my team. Her name is Sarge, my very best friend for over 20 years, and her energy type is kinetic. So she likes a challenge. So if I start to feel Sarge getting low vibe, maybe she's not hustling as much or just kind of passive aggressive, I know that she's stuck too much in routine, too much in process, too much in systemized. She needs to shake it up. She needs a good challenge. She needs a let's do this by this, or let's see if we can outpace this person, or let's see if we can beat last year's numbers. She needs a challenge to reactivate. Synergistic needs connection. If you have someone on your team that's low vibe, they're not putting up the numbers, they're feeling disconnected. They're working in a silo. They need to reconnect to the mission, the purpose, or other people, and so forth. So dive in, take this QR code, give it to your team so that you can understand how their energy works best, and you'll get a beautiful free result all about you. If you want to do the deeper dive with the framework, how you can apply it, how it works, the best types of roles for you and your team, you can upgrade to the full report using the code BAM50 to get half off that. And you will begin to see your energetic management completely transform as you manage it more like you manage your time or your money. Okay, so landing the plane, Scott, you give me 40 minutes. I'm at 41. Landing the plane real quick. The final thing I want to share with you is this. When we did our study, we asked people, what is the number one reason someone you admire is successful? And we gave them a ton of options. Was it their intelligence, their creativity, their education, their skill set, their moral compass? Do they just work more than the rest of us? No. The number one answer we got was it was their vibe or their way of being. Friends, in an era of AI, when we cannot compete on competency with computers, your energy is your ultimate edge. Energy rich skills like empathy, intuition, adaptability. These are things that AI can never replace for you. This is what makes you marketable and profitable and powerful. And I'll just share with you one final story before we land the plane. So I first realized the power of our vibe or our way of being back when I was 15 years old. Of all places, you wouldn't think, but I actually came to know this at a funeral. It was for a man by the name of Wild Bill Faulkner, and they were telling stories about his life. And one of the stories said that as he was a poor Irish immigrant in a land full of poor Irish immigrants looking for work, he couldn't find a job. He was sort of running out of options. And so he was out at a pub one night where one of his cousins worked. He would give him food that hadn't been sold that night, pour him a pity pint. And he was sitting there, not sure of his next move, but very fearful for his future. Well, this guy walks in and sits down next to him. And this guy looks even worse off than Wild Bill. His shoulders are down, his eyes are down, he's devastated, he's bummed. And so Wild Bill starts chatting with the guy, tells him some stories, some jokes. Well, fast forward 2 hours later, and the guy who walked in, who was super bummed, was laughing. He was lighter. He was smiling. He goes to pay his tab and says to Wild Bill, "Thank you so much. I had a really hard day at work, but you really cheered me up." And Wild Bill said, "Well, at least you have work to go to." But it turns out this guy owned a construction business and offers Wild Bill a job. But Wild Bill had no experience, so he turned him down. And the guy said, "You know what? Don't worry about the experience. The smartest people that I know in this earth, they bet on the jockey and not the horse." He hired Wild Bill. They worked together for 30 years and they were friends for life. Sitting at that funeral as a 15-year-old girl, hearing that story about my grandfather, it made me realize that the world will always bet more on your energy than your expertise. Your energy is your ultimate edge. And as you are running the race of your life at your pace, remember that you are the jockey. You can choose how you show up. You can choose to invest in your energy in a way that no matter what comes your path, no matter the challenges, the rejections, the moments, you can double down. You can find your fuel. You can align what you're doing. And when you do and you show up in your full essence of you at your absolute best, you give the world no options but to bet on you. So thank you guys so much for being here today. My name's Erin King. I wish you all the success and the digital zen that you so deserve, online, offline, and all the time. And thank you, Scott and the team, for inviting me to share time with you and energy today.
Erin King, everybody, please throw some hearts out there, like a ton of them, like energetic hearts, if you will. Erin, you're so amazing. I love listening to you so much. I think you're just masterful. You know what I've got to do? I've got to go straight into the detail here and just say your naming conventions for your folders, gold.
Oh, the affirmations.
I love it. I'm going to absolutely do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think the love coming in for you is huge. Really bring it. You know, the other thing is this: systemize your scrolling. You know, I call this whole era, I put it in the comments, I call this the algorithm chaos era.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? And I'm starting to see that the world that we all need to kind of protect our circles. So you just gave out a first way to protect your circle. Yes. Your friends, what you check on. And I think it's absolutely brilliant. And I see that's the way the world is going, with trust, with politics, with everything.
Yes.
You know, and you being in control. Go ahead.
No, absolutely. And I agree 100%. You know, taking control of our digital energy management, it is challenging, but it's not impossible. And I will say that spreadsheet hack, for me anyway, has really helped me to reprogram how I invest my energy, because just like all of us, I mean, the smartest engineers on planet Earth engineered this app to be addicting. I mean, they modeled it after, you know this, Scott, obviously, you know, they modeled it after the pull down refresh technology of slot machines in Las Vegas to activate that Pavlovian addiction to keep us hooked. And so for me, going out of the app and going in a desktop version, which is not the native format of the app, allows me to sit on my desktop, go through who actually I need to share my fuel with. Who do I really want to pour my precious online energy with? And it kind of keeps you on track and not going off of wild scroll holes. So that it really helped me a lot. So that's helped a lot. Naming the folders is fun. And also seeking out people who can give you content that helps you to feed that instinct. You know, whether you need connection or creativity or order, we're all wired differently. And so the more we understand how our energy is engineered, the more that we can engineer it on purpose, early and often, even and especially when we really don't feel like it. So I hope today was helpful.
Oh, it really was. And look at these comments. I mean, this systemize your scrolling. I mean, that's a gem.
Oh.
And I think it's the future of social. So you're throwing out something really incredible there.